All right, it says we're live. I'm not 100% sure because I can't see, but let me check on my YouTube channel and see if it shows me whether or not we're live. I hope everybody's doing really well today. I gave you all an assignment last week, and today we're just kind of catching up. We're touching base to see if. Okay, it says I'm live. Oh yeah, we are live. Perfect. Okay. I'm just just catching up and see how you guys are doing and whether or not you did your assignment. And while we talk about the assignment, I'm going to be cutting this up. What's up? Got my bro. Look, I got your journal right here. It's ready to go, man. So I'll drop it off, or we'll schedule a drop off sometime this week. But I hope that you guys have taken your assignment seriously and have journaled about what you find interesting in human behavior. The same as in high school, I didn't do my. Yeah, same here. Uh, but today we're gonna make a new one, because the one that I have, is beat up. It used to look like this, but now it looks like this. And so I'm going to be making it out of this box or carton. First thing we're going to do is we're going to cut our piece out, and I'm going to overshoot. Oh, dang. I totally did not overshoot there. That's fine. So that's the first thing we're going to do is cut this out. We still have some juice in there. No, I cleaned this up, but it has some stain from the juice before. And now I'm going to watch my fingers, because obviously this is really sharp. But you could do this at home. You just follow along. I'm going to do my best to show you or tell you what I'm doing as I'm doing it. But if it goes by too fast, just don't worry. Just, pause the video and follow along however you can. So now the question is, do I want this in the front, or do I want this to be the front? Have some fruit, or have the whole Minute Maid thing going? I think I'm going to have... probably... Muy fresón. That's right. Muy fresón, compa. All right, we're gonna cut this longer than it should be, and then we'll start trimming it down. We're gonna have this in the background. I've decided. There it is. Sometimes you have these folds that will get in the way. We're just gonna make them part of the design here. So it might be like, I'm going to overshoot here on this side, and then cut on this side along this line. I'm going to use that line as my guide, and I'm going to use this as my first fold, and then mark a few folds going backwards from that point. Bring my scoring board out here. And if it looks like I don't know what I'm doing, you're right. I don't know what I'm doing. Let's see. Should we make this square already? Probably. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that first, I guess. Just so we can lay it. Sorry if that made a noise. So just so that we can make it flush all the way when we're cutting this thing. I don't even know if that's going to be really straight or not, but it is what it is. Okay, so back to your assignments. Let's talk about your assignment. The assignment was pick something that human beings do that you find interesting. And I find a lot of things interesting that human beings do. Yesterday, took the family out to Disneyland, And just that place alone is just, you could say what you want about Disneyland. Some people don't like it, or some people, just feel weird about Disneyland. But I find it really interesting how dedicated these Imagineers are with regards to making kids believe that there is magic, And I find it fascinating how they coordinate. Everything is really well coordinated to make sure that the magic stays alive in these kids. Just the Phantasmic alone, we were passing by. I didn't even watch it, but I haven't watched it in a long time. But just Phantasmic alone, the music cues, how they take the time to make sure that everything's queued up really on time. That if a firework goes off, that when the firework goes off in the sky, it coordinates with the music, which is really challenge. I imagine it's challenging to do because you have to time when the firework gets shot up from the ground up into the air, and then time it so that it hits the mark on the music every single week. And fireworks are, I don't imagine that the fireworks are like you could tell it exactly when you want it to go off. I imagine that there's a little bit of a delay, or that time probably changes, I think, I don't know, but I find that extremely interesting, fascinating, that as human beings we could do things like that. Oh man, I really wish I could. I need my AI right now to translate that for me. Lucian, thank you so much for your comment. I'm going to translate into English because I speak English. I'm sorry. I don't. What is this? Is it Portuguese that you're speaking? Probably. Oh no. Boa noite. Probably. I don't know. I find that fascinating too, how we can translate things now with AI, even though AI is kind of scaring the crap out of people nowadays. But that's another subject. The goal to this assignment is to get you all writing, to get you all to take a break and look at what human beings are doing, and then write about that, to get that writing muscle exercised, not to be confused with exorcised. I'm not saying you have a demon in your muscle, but to get writing, get you going on the writing, get you started in that way. And let's see, is that going to be enough? I think so. Oh, wouldn't it be cool if I could get this to turn? And sorry, wouldn't it be cool if I get this to turn? Maybe next time I'll make a longer one and then turn it and put a Velcro back here so it could just, eventually, because it's paper, it'll probably rip off. So I'm going to have to sew it probably. But we shall see. All right. This is the base for what we're doing here. I'm going to measure the height. I'm just going to go based on the one that I made here. Okay, so I'm just going to have to trim a few inches from the top and bottom. But let's trim more from the bottom if we can, to get rid of some of this text down here. Gonna mark maybe like right between that 8 right there. That's how we're doing things here. I'm just winging it. I'm not really measuring anything. I hope you see that so that you can just make this without the desire to make it perfect standing in your way. What I am going to do though is use this line to have me more or less pointed in the right direction. And then I'm going to place the ruler right here on the middle of the 8, which is what I said I was going to do. I'm just going to overshoot a little bit, a little tiny little bit. And then my goal is to have the same distance from here to here that I do, or from here to here that I do up here. It is going to be a guess, but if I give myself enough space so I can see this line, and this line up here, then I'll be guided just a little bit more, a little better. I could see, okay, the distance from here to here is about the same as here to here. And now I more or less have a straight line. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to get done. Perfect. There it is. And then you do it perfect. You see? Cut is perfect enough. Have you looked at the Everbook system? I have taken a look, just a glimpse, a glance at it. Really, not too much, but it is something that I think is worth looking at if I'm going to take something from it. I don't see myself fully using another system as it's offered. I see myself just borrowing from different systems, kind of like Bruce Lee did, and making it my own, because my journal will change as I journal along. Sometimes it's just me writing about my dreams or a gratitude journal. I have photography here, writing about things that we did as a family. I'll take notes or sketch some ideas out that I'm working on, any ideas that I'm working on. I'll have to-do lists on here as well. Updates. So here's another to-do list. I'm really just winging it as I go along. My journal is free to be whatever I want it to be in the week that I'm working on it, because I have it set that way so that if I need to track something, I will track it for that week or two, but no more than that. And if I do need to track it longer than that, to me, then it's not a habit. I want to turn it into a habit if I can. But the Evernote system, I do want to look into. Now I have a question for you. Have you ever heard of the Forever Note system for Apple users or, iPhone users? There's a system called Forever Notes, and it's using your Apple Notes as a way of tracking keeping all your notes organized. And I love that. That's a fantastic way of keeping yourself organized. Okay, I think this is going to get cut just slightly longer there, but just there over this fold. But we will see as soon as we get it all taped up and cut up here. All right. I make my own notebooks, and I want them to fit here perfectly, but I don't want to have too much space up top, because then, this should be fine then. It should be fine. As you can see here, I don't have too much space on top and bottom. Here it looks like I have a little bit more, but should be fine, I think. So your first assignment, if you haven't done your first assignment, I would suggest that you take a look at the video that I posted last, I believe, Sunday or Monday. And the assignment was to take something that human beings do that you find interesting and journal about it. And it's just a way for you to exercise that journaling muscle and get you journaling about things. This is for people who either don't know what to journal about or who want to be more consistent in their journaling. You could join us for these journal assignments and then exercise that journaling muscle. As you can see, there's no measuring. There's no making sure that this line is straight. It doesn't have to be. This is my journal. It's done my way. And I wanted to look in the end, I wanted to look like I made it. Because I did, because I did make it. That's why. There it is. Get rid of some of that. Everbook is a paper system, and style would fit. Oh, wait a minute. I think I remember seeing something where you could remove pages, right? Like you could take pages or add pages because you have that rubber band, kind of like what I did here, where like if I wanted to add this page, I could continue adding like this. I think I saw something similar to that. I'm not sure if that's part of it or not, but I'm open to seeing all these systems and seeing what they're about. Because the thing is, what you want to understand about journaling is that we're all different, and that's obvious, right? Like, duh, we're different, Leo. Of course, we're different. But I don't think it's that obvious to some people, just how different we all are in our way of thinking. You know, we're all different in the way that we think. Some of us think in pictures, some of us think in sound, some of us talk to ourselves in our head. Some people don't have that voice in your head that you know pitches ideas back and forth with you. Other people have more of a feeling than they do a practical thought. And because we're all different, we all see things differently. We also organize information differently in our heads. And so one system might not work for you. And if you've ever tried one system and you quit and you thought, hey, well, this isn't for me, it's not that journaling isn't for you. It's that system may not be the right one for you. You follow? And if it's not the right one for you, you just simply need to try out different ones. That's it. Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to measure it and make sure that my notebooks aren't going to stick out too much. No, I don't think they are. All right, so we have our cover. In fact, one day what I'd like to do is wrap the entire thing in this tape. It'll probably be a more solid tape. See, because this isn't so bad. I think I did use hockey tape, and maybe just do the whole thing with this tape and see how long that lasts. You know what? So I'm not walking around with a Minute Maid thing. Let's do it now. Yeah. Let's do this one like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just pretty much going to use up this whole tape probably. Oh, wait a minute. I should probably wait until I'm done making it, because I don't know how much tape I'm going to need. Ukulele Plus, welcome. Mox Owl says yes. Okay, cool. So I'm down to try that. Again, I like to see what other people are doing so that I can borrow from that system. So a lot of this stuff comes from like junk journaling. If you've never heard of junk journaling, you should definitely look into it, because they are awesome at making pockets and all kinds of stuff with their notebooks and journals, and adding paper and designing it, especially if you're creative and you like drawing or sketching and you like stickers and all that. Like, junk journaling could be a thing for you. Let's see here. All right, let's make some holes. Let's see here. I need to make sure that I'm all right. I think I got it. I'm going to make one hole here, another hole here. Doesn't have to be straight. The holes just have to be there. That's all. At the holes. Okay, now let's add the grommet. I'm glad that they've been helpful. That's kind of, that really brings me a lot of comfort, because I don't want to just be out here making videos if they're not helping. The whole point is to help, and so I'm glad they've helped. Thank you so much. I'm gonna bring this on the inside here. Okay, so let's talk about it now, if we can, please. And I appreciate your participation. What is a human behavior? If you were looking at humans from an outside perspective, meaning if you were an alien from another planet, and you were dropped off and you start observing human beings and their behaviors, what's something that humans do now that you've noticed that you just find fascinating? Think about it like if you're looking at another species like an ant, or if you were observing like a bee and you were like, hey, look at that bee, it's interesting. He goes and he flies to that, it flies over to that flower. I don't know what it does over there, and then it goes back to its little hive. And then you ask questions and you observe more, like what is it doing with the flower actually? And then maybe you go out and you buy yourself a nice little camera, or you go online and you're like, wait a minute, what are they doing? And like, oh, they're grabbing nectar, and oh, that's interesting, and doing what with it? And then, oh, they chew it up and they spit it out and make honey out of it. And just like you would make that observation, what's something that humans do that you find absolutely interesting and fascinating? Just wanted to let you know that I'm following along. Thank you so much. I'm really glad. Thank you. And I seriously hope that it has helped, and that it is helping. There we go. All right, look, these are not aligned. You could take the time to align them, make sure, you could take an awl. Where's my awl? You could take one of these, or a nail, even you could take a screw and mark where you want the holes, really mark it, and then go back with your puncher, punch the hole and do it that way, or you can freestyle it. But if you want it straight, you can take that path for sure. All right, cool. So now we have our grommets in there, ready to hold. Let's add our elastic. And I'm going to start from the outside this time. I'm going to go in through the top hole and then go across, not down, but across. Give it a pull. Now I'm going to go down from that hole that it's in now. Now I'm going to go down. Oh, wait, that's wrong. That's wrong, because I want them to be on the inside. Oh, snaps. Where is it? Here it is. This one. Okay, that's wrong. Start over. Starting from the outside. Pick a hole, any hole, doesn't matter. You go here. You go in through that one. And you want to go, if you're on the inside of your cover, you want to go downward or vertically across into the same hole on the same side. And if you're on the outside, you want to go across horizontally this way. Okay, we don't need string that's going this way. It serves no purpose unless you want to hold paper on the outside. I mean, you could do that, I guess, or if you wanted to connect another notebook together, maybe, I don't know. I just don't see the purpose in that. So then we're going from the inside across again into the other hole and pull that. So now we have two strings. And then we repeat. We're going in on this side. And we're going down across to the bottom. And we're going across sideways now, again. Boom. And up top, like this. See that? Now you should have this. And now what I'm going to do is, I really don't want to cut off all this extra piece, so I'm going to pull it until I have a long enough piece that I'm comfortable cutting. I don't want to be wasteful. And then I'm just going to feed it through. There it is. Give it a nice little pull so these can be semi-tight, not too tight, but semi, right? And now I'm going to, my scissors, now I'm going to cut off a piece that's just about the length of the other of the other piece that I have. Okay. And I'm going to pull, get some tension, and just tie a single knot using both of those strands. Just give it a nice little tight knot. This is what I'm left over with. If you wanted to, you can, I don't know, if you put some beads on here and then tie it so you can have something that hangs. You can use this as a bookmark, which is probably how I'm going to use it. Or just leave it in case it loosens up and you have to tighten some more, you can tighten some more. Your choice. Totally up to you. So now this part is done. This is where the magic is already ready to go. I'm doing things a little backwards today because I just want to make sure that my notebooks fit. And by my notebooks, I mean the notebooks that I make. These are the ones that I make. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 4 notebooks. I usually don't carry 4. I'll carry 3 at the most. But there are times where I'll carry 4 because I probably wrote some notes on one and I'm not ready to put that away. And I just keep, my notes going. There we go. Let me see. Your journaling prompts, just want you to know. I use field notes as well. Since being snowed in, I have observed my kiddos playing in the snow. Oh, that's another beautiful thing is observing your kids growing. How they grow is just you blink and then poof, they're 11, they're 14, they're graduating high school, like mine. I have a 19-year-old who's already in college. I have an 11-year-old and a 2-year-old. Cool. So it looks like on this side, it's long enough. It covers, this here. I'm going to make this one I'm going to cut it just outside of this fold. And I think we'll be good. Un saludo desde Colombia. Saludos desde California. We got people from Colombia. I think here's how my journaling took a little bit of a turn. So when I was younger, I used to have panic attacks. I covered this before, but those panic attacks, I really wanted to understand. I understand them. I grew up in a place there was no way my mom was going to take me to a therapist. It just not because she didn't want to or anything like that. It's just that, we grew up not fortunate enough to have that access to that. And honestly, also my ego wouldn't let me because I was already an adult too when they were still happening. They started when I was 14 and I was still getting them around 21. And I decided that if it was going to get taken care of, it was going to be me who was going to take care of it. I needed to get myself out of it. And I started looking into personal development and all kinds of stuff. And well, lo and behold, little by little, I got rid of my anxiety and I got rid of my anxiety attacks. And then later on, one of my aunts was going through some of my grandmother's things and she discovered a bunch of photos of my grandfather when he was young. And he was like in movie sets and there was a picture of him with another like 20 guitarists and there was like a guitar contest in Guadalajara and he won first place. And I thought, wow, look at how neat is that? Right? These are just pictures telling a story. And I thought, wouldn't it be awesome if I had stories that I'm telling, things that I'm keeping track of that I can hand down to my children and that my children one day will look back and see, or my grandchildren even. Because if I found journals that my grandfather would have left, oh man, that would have been awesome. Truly awesome. But it doesn't work that way. He didn't leave any, so I just have to depend on my imagination to piece all the little empty spots together. But imagine that, because spending that time with my grandfather in Mexico when I was younger, those were just, man, those days were transformative, and he taught me a lot. He taught me a lot about life, and he shared a little bit of wisdom with me, and some of it stuck, some of it didn't. Obviously, I still end up making some mistakes, but then I'm still reminded from time to time little things that he said, and I'm like, oh, now I get it. I didn't get it then, but now I get it. Why didn't I understand it then? Because I wasn't ready for it, for that kind of wisdom, and AKA I was ignorant, I was dumb, but much smarter now. And now I see, what am I doing? I'm trying to cut just a small little piece, but I'm gonna have to do it this way. But I can't see. Let's see. There it is. Just do that. Okay, hope this works. But anyway, the point is that I spent some time with him in my early years, and some of the stuff he taught me was just incredible things, And imagine if he would have left some of that stuff behind. I could have continued learning from him even long after he was gone. But c'est la vie. That's life. So what else? What other things do you find interesting? Is there an artist, an actor, or someone that you find absolutely fascinating? How they are, how they carry themselves, how they conduct themselves? How do children learn? Isn't that fascinating? That they don't know anything. They're so ignorant when they're born. Sarcasm, by the way. And then you teach them how to walk. You teach them how to talk. You teach them how to pretty much do everything. How do we learn? How do we learn after we've mastered certain things? Take that for example. Like a kid learns how to crawl and then learns how to walk, but then they start running. You don't teach them how to run. You just sort of pick up on that stuff, and that's interesting. And I'd like you to stay tuned, because in the next couple of weeks, we're going to start this is just the intro. We're going to start exploring more deeper things like anger. We could talk about some of that now if you want. Anger. Why do we get angry? Why can some people control their anger and others can't? What's the difference? How does that work? And if others can control it, certainly I can, right? I can control my anger. How do I do that? By studying people who have already done it. That's how. We grow, we grow, we grow. Oh, dang it. All right. Well, here I'm going to have to really wing it. There it is. Bam. I look forward to turning 50 years old this year. Cool. Congratulations. And I've honestly never studied my own life. Sounds weird, but true. It doesn't sound weird actually at all. I think that's great. It's never too late to learn, especially to learn things about yourself. All right. I think I'm doing too much with this already, but okay, so let's continue. I'm gonna make an all black notebook here. Just gonna cover this up. See what it looks like and see how long this one lasts me. This other one's lasted me since October, so October, November, December, January, 3 months. February, actually 4 months. Just about. Maybe if I protect it with hockey tape, this thing will last me a little longer. What do you think? I don't think it's ever too late to observe yourself and to see what you can pick up, what you can learn. I think it's going to be fascinating. To me, that's fascinating that I can document what my 40s are like so that when I turn 50, I can look back and be like, look at that. I I learned this, I learned that. Oh boy, I didn't know about this. Oh man, no wonder my life was this way. I didn't take the time to learn that. Or, oh, would you look at that? When I was 42, it seemed that I was interested in, carpentry and woodworking, and then I took it a little bit more serious when I was 43, and I built, that desk, and then it took me on a little trip to learn this and learn that, and then I could see how my knowledge in that field grew and developed. That's fascinating to me. Okay, I hope this works. If not, I'm doing all this work, and all this is going to be wasted. But that's kind of the point. I want to try different things. That used to stop me from growing. This fear that, like, oh, but what if it's a waste of time? What if I wasted tape? And then it's going to look this way. But this is exactly how Leonardo da Vinci learned and developed new skills, was by not being afraid to take the time to explore something that most people would just ignore, or most people wouldn't even bother to look into, because who cares what the tongue of a hummingbird is like? Who cares how that muscle works? And yet, in studying how muscles worked, he knew exactly how to draw that Mona Lisa smile, because he knew, oh, if I want to make that smile, then this muscle expands, this one contracts, these muscles get activated, and therefore the smile looks more authentic, it looks more real, because it was studied from something real. And it all just takes taking a little bit of extra time to study something. Why not? At any age, why not? At any age. But the younger, the better, I think. I'll tell you this much: if I were to go back and if I can go back to my 20-year-old self, I would tell myself, protect your time and protect your mind. Protect your time and protect your mind. Why your time? Because that's the one thing that once you've wasted, you won't get back. That's the one thing that you get. That's the one thing that once you spend it, it's gone. You get none of it back. And your mind, obviously, because you allow anybody to just insert any idea, any thought. It could either free you or limit you. And in most cases, it limits us. We let other people's limitations limit us. So we end up second guessing ourselves, telling ourselves that we're not good enough for something, telling us that we're not smart enough for something. If I let other people's ideas of me infect my mind, then I would think that I'm too old to learn how to do carpentry. Or hell, that I'm too old to be putting tape and making notebooks. What am I, a child? Come on, grow up. Go to the store and buy them like everybody else. Come on. So yeah, guard your mind. Don't let anybody else's ideas, limitations be instilled in you or installed in you. Think of it like a program. Don't let anybody install their program of limitation onto you. No one. And that's the power of journaling. You take inventory of where your thoughts are, where your mind is currently. You take inventory of where your time is going and where you're spending most of your time. And then you make a decision. You say, hey, I will no longer allow this to waste any more of my time. I'm not going to let this person tell me what I can or cannot do. They don't know my abilities. They don't know what I can or can't do. They don't know how I see the world and how, excuse me, sorry, I'm trying to do two things at once. They don't know how I see the world and what I am capable of doing or not capable of doing. And in most cases, what they're saying is that they can't do it. And since they can't, neither can you. And that's bull. Oh, nice. Look at that. Did you see that? I just solved that problem. I was like, oh man, I could see the white here. And what if it starts to fray and pull off or whatever? Look at this. Just put half, tape it up halfway, leave the other half hanging off, right? Cut. Oh, oops. I can cut this one at an angle. Doesn't matter. Oh, come on. Anyway, the point is, don't let anybody install their programs into you. They have a program that says, I'm too old to do XYZ. And so they are too old to do XYZ. No. Never too old. Never too old. Now, how in the heck am I going to tell which way is up and which one's not? I'm going to have to put some kind of tape here. Or actually, boom, boom, boom. I'm going to have to wait for it to dry, but oh no. All right, you know what? For now, just for now, I'm going to have to, oh, never mind. I just answered my own question. This is on top, duh. But anyway, this is what I was going to do. I was just going to put a piece of tape here and write something on it. And there you go. I have my own custom, book here. But I'm going to do the same thing here. Look at that. Hockey tape. Hockey tape, baby. All right, here we go. I don't even have to have it all the way out. What I'll do is I'll mark it here and I'll cut it before I tape it. This way I have just the right length. Got to make sure it doesn't stick to itself. Stick it on here halfway. And fold. This may be good. This may not be good, but I mean, it looks good to me. I like this. I really like this. The blessing is in the fine or often overlooked details. That is exactly right. That is exactly it. We don't see the details. In my opinion, back in 2020, I had a YouTube channel that where I was reviewing music. And, I don't consider myself a great musician. I'm a decent musician. But one thing that I do love that I do, if I'm allowed to, speak positively about myself. Oh man, I can't believe we need permission to speak positively about ourselves. But if I'm allowed to speak positively about myself, one thing that I think made that channel successful is that I love listening to music in detail. I like pointing out all the little things that I think the producers wanted us to hear, but hid in the sound that the average person won't even pay attention to. And I've noticed that when I was making these observations in music, people are like, "Oh, I never even noticed that thing was there until you pointed it out." And I'm like, "Okay, cool." It's these little details, these little things that I notice that people love because now they notice it too, and now we're all on the same page. All right, it feels a little sticky, obviously, because every time I peel this off, this has some residue, but once it dries, I think we should be good. I don't know how it's gonna handle it. I hope it handles it well, but we tried something new. We tried something new, and whether we succeeded or not is yet to be discovered. Should have done is measured this, huh? What's the measurement of this? This is going to be just about 8 inches by 6 inches. So for those of you who want to know the dimensions, it's 6 inches by 8 inches. So what you could do to save yourself some time is cut a 6 by 8, find the center, make those score marks so that it can fold easily without tearing the cardboard, and then just tape it, and then cut the excess tape, and then do that again to all the edges, and you'll have something similar to this if you want to use it, if you wanted to use only tape. And now I'm going to take out the notebooks that I have currently that I'm working with. I was going to wait for it to dry a little bit so that stickiness that's present goes away, but I am not going to do that. I'm just going to, oh, look, I don't know if you're still here. What was the name? Mox Owl. I don't know if you're still here, but I kind of did that with my field notes. I added some extra papers here just in case. And there it is. Awesome. You're still here. Okay, look, this is what I'm doing with my system. January 16th to the 27th, this one is over with. I used it to sketch out the door that I designed a gate for. I learned about the vagus nerve. Things that interested me, right? So I journaled things about my day. This morning I learned about the vagus nerve, so I wrote as much as I could about it. And then I'm sketching things for my door. I've been singing 111 or 11 all day long, and I just journal about that. Little things that my son does. Ezekiel, his favorite movies at the time is The Bad Guys, The Grinch, The Polar Express, and Jurassic World trilogy. Just so I can remember this, when I get older. Questions about stress. What is stress? What is its purpose? How do humans handle it? What happens when it's ignored? What other emotions accompany it? How does the mind respond to it? What reactions? So this is about questions, about asking questions. Feel free to just write questions in your journal. It doesn't have to be some, philosophical finding and you write something down. Wow, this is amazing. It could just be questions, just that you want to understand something. Who knows? Maybe later on you'll discover, does yoga and meditation really help? You go back to these questions. You say, oh, what role does the vagus nerve play? Oh, well, here we go. I wrote about it over here. If I wanted to know more about, say, what are common reasons that humans stress, I can look at some of the reasons. How does breathing help? And then I can look at how breathing activates the vagus nerve and all that other stuff. Yesterday we went to Disneyland, and I kind of sketched a little bit of some of the buildings that I saw right where I was sitting, and I wrote a little bit about the weather and little things that we did. Here's this desk. I want to revisit this desk and rebuild it, but there's just I'm just putting out the floor plan, I guess, and then I'll piece out how I'm going to build the legs later. This is just a really rough, like, I'm planting a seed here. This is something I want to do. And then later on, when I want to start building it, I will reference back to what I thought. And this is not going to be the way that it's going to look in the end. Actually, it's probably going to look completely different. So that's it. Is there a theme for each journal? There used to be. There is not anymore. Right now, this one is last week's journal, or from the 16th to the 26th, but I'm not ready to take this out and store it because I might have some notes that I want to reference back, and then once this one is over with, I'll move this one out. This one takes its place, and then my new journal will take the place of this one. So I'm just rotating them as I go along. And this is the only one that I think does have a theme. This is a collection of beautiful words, lyrics, and wisdom to be. And wisdom to be better with words so that I can talk gooder. Yes, that's a dad joke, or that's a joke. I know that's not right. It started out with me writing a definition to certain words, and then writing some quotes that I come along with, and I still might, but as of late, I've just been writing definitions to words that I come across. I've also programmed my AI, my Perplexity, to give me a word of the day every morning and email it to me. So it does that. It sends me an email with the word of the day so that I don't have to look it up. And then every morning I just have the word of the day ready to go. And if I like the word, I'll write it down. If I don't, I'll just ignore it. And then sometimes one word like morose led me to brooding, which led me to rumination, which led me to triage, and so on and so forth. So this is the only one that has a theme. The rest is just my daily journaling, and it's all free form. Everything goes. For the most part, it's just me writing about my day, whether I'm stressed or something's going on, or if I'm trying to solve a problem, I'll write it down so that I can solve it. Sometimes it's like a interstitial journaling in between. So anything in a box like this with my shorthand notes goes on this as well. No theme. What I am doing though to kind of keep this organized is I'm scanning them now, and then I'm keeping them digitally. So if I do need to access, book 1, for example, I have already scanned. If I need to access the notes for this one, I already have it digitally. And I got to scan 2 and 3, which, by the way, number 1 is currently on Patreon, on my Patreon. I'm not trying to plug that in, but it is. If you wanted to see it, it's on there. I'm going to scan book 2 soon and put that up, and book 3. I'm not sure. I lost count, but I think I'm like on book 10 or 11. So they will all be there if you wanted to take a look and see how I'm journaling and what my journals look like. You're welcome to look at it there. All right, everybody. Well, I think I'm done here for today. We made this notebook, which now you know how to make it for yourself if you want to. This just is meant to protect my 3 notebooks that I carry with me all the time. And I get to say goodbye to this. The only downside is that I'm not going to be able to have this measuring tool on the outside anymore. But I do have this ruler on the field notes. But what I think I will do is, since this notebook stays longer, I'll probably just tape a ruler on the outside of this, or maybe leave it in here and just pull it out every time I need to measure something, the center of something. But it's not the end of the world if I can't do that. And I carry these clips because every once in a while, if I'm going to record something on my journal, this is just a way of clamping it down so that it can stay flat, all that. I used to have a tie to this. I'm not going to tie it. I got used to not having a tie. Eventually, this will stay closed. Because it's new, it opens up, but eventually it will shut. As you can see now, I don't have to hold this one up anymore. This one does open up, but it's smaller, and I put 3. This one was designed for 2 notebooks. I put 3 in here. And the notebooks are short so that I can go through them faster and keep my notes scanned and updated. Anyway, all right, well, that's it. By the way, this is another marker that this is the way up. I don't need to mark it with anything. Yeah. Take care, everybody. Thanks so much. And keep journaling. I'll be posting another video soon on the next assignment. So stay tuned for that. All right. Take care. Bye.